So the game I just played reminded me of this game, Alekhine-Nimzovitch, San Remo 1930. Not that I played like that, but just the pin on the C file and the fact that Black is running out of moves and he ran out of time. So let's take a look at this Nimzovitch game now. Let's see. Let's do the analysis board. Import mocked game. Okay, we see the position now. This game was also a French defense, and Alekhine played the mainline knight c3. Nimzovitch played winner bishop b4. Alekhine, sometimes he took on d5, I believe. Or is that Capablanca against Alekhine in the title match? But anyway, e5. No, Alekhine sometimes played this move, knight e2, against Winnower, which sites have told me he liked when we talked about it, but Black shouldn't have any problems there. So, the principal move is e5. Take the space, c5, bishop d2. Okay, normal theory, a3, bishop a5, or bishop c3, and white is, better here with the bishop pair. There's a ton of theory, but many famous games. There's queen g4 for white, knight f3, there's even h4 nowadays. I play it sometimes when, if I know my opponent's going to play the winnower, I probably will enjoy playing the white side of a winnower. I'm just behind the computer. Okay, so bishop d2, the idea is knight b5, trade off this bishop and get the knight to d6 as sort of a sideline. And now knight b5, bishop d2, queen d2. This is playable for white too. Black needs to know what he's doing. Okay, castles. c3 is fine. Or f4. Yeah, this is the advanced variation of the winnower. Yeah. Okay, b6. I don't think b6 was very accurate. He needs to fight back, stop this knight from getting maybe to d6. Maybe, yeah, just bust the position with f6. And now Black has a really good counterplay because after f4, he could play knight c6 or even fe. And, Black has some ideas, knight c6 maybe. Knight f5, some pressure in the center, a6. This open f file. It's pretty good for white, for black. Black doesn't have, white doesn't have much development, so I think that's why this isn't played that much. Maybe, knight b5, it's kind of time consuming just to get the d6 square. And, the standard way of just a3, bishop c3, bc is just better. And then white owns the dark squares. You guys can study a famous game, Stein versus Petrosyan, 1961 here. Very classical game in the winnower. Okay, so bishop d2. Okay. But Nimzovitch didn't take enough care in the position, allowed Alekhine just to take space, and now he's going to get some struggles. This b6 was too slow. He needed to act immediately with f6 and strike back. He didn't do it, didn't play with enough energy, and now we get an immortal Zugzwang game. Bishop a6, knight f3, queen d7, and you can see a4, and white's advantage just starts growing. All these pawns on dark squares, just controlling white's position. Total harmony in the position. Pawns on dark squares, bishop goes to d3, controlling all the squares. Okay, knight c6, and now exclam. Very common move in advanced structures in French Carol-Con is to set the strength of the c5 pawn and play b4. And now this puts the c pawn in a crisis. Either way, if he plays c4 or cb or cd, white takes over the game, takes over the space. There's no more stress on the position. Either way, we'd have to take the same way. This is no good either because, white just has all the space, okay? So b4, and basically, I think that for practical purposes, black is already close to losing strategically. Computer is giving this mocked 0.6, 0.7, but I think that it's strategically over, actually. Bishop b7, knight d6, and now black just slowly but surely gets no moves. f5, you're just going to leave this pawn here. You don't want to obviously take. You don't want to give up this knight. Just leave it here. Now this knight on e7 is languishing. All of black's pieces languish. Black has no space. Very good game. a5, the idea is a6, and just take over all the space. Black probably should take this, but he didn't do it. He goes knight c8. He's kind of playing like Andromeda sometimes with these mock maneuvers. Knight c8. When your pieces are all in the back rank, it's not a good thing. I know Andromeda thinks it's a good thing, but when the pieces go to the back rank, you've done something wrong. Okay, so a very nice move by Alekhine. Now he just takes the bishop. Some of you might think this bishop on b7 is not doing anything, but actually it guards key defensive light squares, which are sort of the entry into black's position. So this bishop, although a defensive piece, is very important. So now Alekhine takes it off, and now the light squares are his. He plays a6, fixing the rook and the knight. This knight has no squares, takes the space, and the bishop is coming to b5, and it cannot be dislodged from b5. So he's actually strategically winning now. This monster bishop on b5, owning the light squares. And yeah. Big Totem, if a6 here, then there's knight takes d6. So he didn't want to allow that, and then, if take, we take with the knight. So that's why he didn't play a6. That's why he played knight b7 first. Bishop b5, very simple game. Students who are learning chess, I recommend you would study these games before studying modern games. You want to do it sometimes in order of chess history, as chess history is layered throughout time, and the games just keep getting tougher as time goes on. So this is a very clear example of taking space and restricting your opponent's counterplay. Just taking over the whole board and making sure that the opponent can't move. Showing how mock knights can get in these structures where they have no squares. You see, this knight could have a good future if you can go to d5 or f5, but the pawns are there. This knight has no squares, dominated by all the pawns as well. So castles, and you can see the evaluation just grows, just taking over the c file as we discussed, and now we get the famous Alekhine's gun. Rook c1, and now he plays queen e3. He's just grinding. Black can't move, so he can't move anything at all, and the rest is a mop-up. And now rook c3, rook c2, and queen c1, the famous Alekhine's gun. Nimzovitch is going to resign very soon. Just totally pinned. Can't get off the pin because then we take king f8, desperate, and now he has to play rook c8, and now just this very simple move, a very elegant move, just showing how helpless black is. He can't move this knight. He loses the queen or the rooks. Bishop a4, delicate finish. Threatening b5, and that's it. Rook takes c7. So b5, Nimzovitch had to play this desperate move b5. Then bishop takes b5. No. King e8 and back. And now Nimzovitch barely got king d8 in, and now so all his pieces are tied. So if he moves his queen away, then well, he still couldn't do that because then b5 and we take the rook on c7. So everything is tied up. He can't move at all. So he's going to be in Zugzwang. So Alekhine made the ultimate mock. He just played h4, and Nimzovitch resigned. He resigned because he has no moves. He's about to run out of moves after, say, something like g6. Alekhine can just play king h1, for example. And, French started out with no space, and it ended with even less space. So now just king h1 or any move, just king h1. And now he has to end up giving up material because, after h5, just king g1, for example. And now he has no moves. So it's a famous game of a top 5 player in the world at the time, just getting crushed. He didn't take the position seriously enough with enough energy and played b6. He was just, playing a little routinely, and he didn't take advantage of the fact that Alekhine spent a little too much time in the opening by modern standards, and he needed to strike back here with f6. He didn't do it. You see, white makes all these moves with pieces, trades. Black has a little bit more development right here after c3. He needs to play f6 and break. He didn't do it, and as a result, we get this famous game where white just squeezes black into oblivion. And of course you could. That's why you need to be studying these games. Okay, so famous game, Alekhine-Nimzovitch 1930. Thank you guys for watching this. And, let's keep going. Let's move on now. Zugzwang and